Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's video, tips and strategies. Yes, I am sharing with you some different tips and strategies on how you can be successful at podcasting, because this is a part of our initiative in collaboration with CTR Cares Inc., which is a nonprofit organization created to help to connect community with nonprofits and nonprofits with communities. And a part of our education initiative here at CTR Media Network is to bridge the digital gap, right? Or digital, I should say, literacy, especially in regards to podcasting and TV streaming. So today's topic that we're going to talk about today is the 8 top ways to promote your podcast. We have quite a bit of podcasters that's on our platform, as well as we have different podcasters that's actually follow us in these social media streets, as well as on TV. FYI, by the way, go ahead and scan this QR code so you can download our free CTR Media Network app, because you can literally watch us on TV. Yes, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Android TV. We have a web app. We also have our own iOS and Google Play Store app. You just simply search CTR Media Network in the search engine and it will pop up. You download it, and guess what we're doing for you? You can watch our content for absolutely free. A lot of this information that I'm going over with you right now is either inside of our #1 best-selling book, The Power of Podcasting, Unlocking Tips and Strategies for Podcast Success, or I'm adding on some additional information that I feel that you need to hear, because these are the questions that a lot of people be asking me. And if you have any questions that you would like for me to answer in regards to podcasting and TV streaming, then I will tell you right now to engage with us. Like, follow, share, subscribe, and drop your questions in the comment. Who knows? I may answer that question in the next video. I also want to give you a free gift, because I don't want to come before you without giving you something for free. If you have a desire to start a podcast, you can start a podcast really today if you had the desire to do so. But before you get started, it's 7 things that you need to know before you start a podcast in order to build your podcast on solid ground. And we are giving this PDF or this ebook away to you for absolutely free. How can you find it? You just simply go to ctrmedianetwork.com and join the movement. Like I said before, like, follow, share. I want you to comment and subscribe. So now we're going to get back to the topic at hand. 8 top ways to promote your podcast. So what are those 8 ways that I feel that are, it's multiple different ways that you can promote your podcast, but these are my top 8 ways that I feel that no matter where you're starting from will be beneficial for you, and it's not necessarily hard, for you to do. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's tips and strategies for this training. So what are the 8 top ways to promote your podcast? Remember, when you are promoting your podcast effectively, this helps you to reach a wider audience and also to grow your listener and viewer base. And these are some practical tips and strategies to get your podcast noticed. And this is organically without, in the beginning, we're going to talk about organically without having paid ads. Okay. And I'm not against paid ads, but I'm just saying sometimes you have to do it organically. So the very first thing that you need to do is optimize your podcast with SEO. What is SEO? It's called search engine optimization. So you will use keywords within your podcast title, within your description, and your episode titles. Why? Is because it actually helps for the algorithms and for the different things to be able to locate and categorize where your podcast episodes should go. If you do not have your podcast episodes SEO optimized and don't have your podcast titles and descriptions with keywords, then the algorithms and the AI softwares that's really operating a lot of social media now will not know how to organize your content and how to direct your content to the right people that will greater your chances in order to widen your audience, because you're not explaining what your video is about. And by explaining and doing all this, it actually helps put it in order. Another thing is adding show notes. Yes, show notes is basically a transcript of what your show is about at different points about your when you're going to be relating certain information. Like in the previous episode, I was talking to you about RSS feed, but I didn't get into RSS feed right in the beginning of the podcast. So what a timestamp link actually does is tell you the exact time that you can actually go to the information that you want to hear. You won't have to listen to all the commentary. You can get right to it, right? Because you see the timestamp. That actually help you with the algorithms, also help you with your podcast information getting a wider reach organically when you take the time to add your show notes with timestamps and links so people can click on it and go straight to it. If it's just a timestamp that they can read, they can find it, but it's more better when you make it clickable because you want to make it very easy for people to be able to connect with your information. Another thing is that you want to submit your podcast to all the major directories, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, etc. Like we spoke about in the previous video about the RSS feeds. That is basically your social security number, your database, your library for all the content that you created in the past on your podcast, as well as what you're going to continuously create, and that's how it actually distributed, worldwide. So what is the second thing that you need to do in order to promote your podcast? You need to leverage social media platforms. So you need to create a social media page or group for your podcast show. Like the Tina Ramsey Show has its own page. It has its own group. It had on all social media platforms, or I would say now Dr. Tina J. Ramsey, it has all of that. When you look up CTR Media Network has its own Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of that, right? It's very important because you can share your information in an organized way and you can be able to highlight it. And also it builds for you credibility, influence, and it has basically your digital resume of the information that you've been creating, and it make it easy for your viewing and listening audience to be able to connect with your information. Now, another thing that you should do when you are on social media and you have your social media platform set up centered around your show, named after your show, you want to create short video clips or audiograms. Audiograms is basically what it is. It is a short, bite-sized short clip audio version. You can't see it. You just hear the person with captions that actually people can read, because most people scroll on social media now with the sound off, so they can actually read what you're saying versus having to turn it on, because sometimes they land in the bed with their significant other and they don't want to wake them up. It actually helps grabs the attention. When you have videos, it actually helps you with having short clips because it entices them to actually watch the entire full episode. It's another way to engage because it's important, because so much of our information is coming to us. We get so much information now that when you use shorts, it is a new delivery and it entices and encourages them to be able to come back for more. Another one is you want to make sure when people do engage with you on your social media platforms, up under your TV show or podcast name, you want to make sure that you respond and engage with them within the comment section. Just don't leave the comments there. Just don't leave the comments there. You go ahead and you make sure that you engage with them to show them that you appreciate them by responding, putting an emoji, putting a heart on it, something to let them know that you see them. The third thing that you need to do is to create you a website or a blog, or I would say have both. You have a website that also have a blog feature. Why? Is because it's another way that you can redirect traffic from your podcast episode to your blog. And your blog is actually another way to actually monetize your show later on. I'll explain to that on another video. And you can host your podcast episodes on your website. And when you are a podcast host that also have a podcast episode that goes along with your podcast, it also greater your chances to be able to secure sponsorships, advertisement slots, commercial slots, and have more high tier guests being on your show, high quality guests. right? So it creates a sense of authority. You also use your blog to be able to write a commentary, a blog post that will relate to your episode topics and highlight various different points that's going to be inside that episode, and make sure it's SEO friendly. Another way for them to be able to find your content, and then offering them some type of free resource, a downloadable thing that is exclusive to the ones who come to your website, rewarding them for opting into your website. All good things on your blog. Next thing you want to do is collaborate with other podcasts. It's not all about you and your podcast. It's all about what you and as well as other people are doing. So many podcasters get too comfortable. Yes, I'm talking to you. You get too comfortable just doing interviews of people. You don't find too many podcast hosts that will go on other people's shows, and that is doing yourself a bit disservice. You need to make sure that you not only host your show, but also you go on other people's podcast shows, and that creates you as the authority and also widen your audience, because their audience is not your audience, and vice versa. The camaraderie, you interchangeably build up each other platform. You need to also invite guests to have a strong following on your show. You shouldn't let just anybody come on your show. Even when you're just beginning, you should have intention in mind, how you want to build, how you want to scale. You want to have good guests that are going to have some great information that is evergreen kind of content, something that is not just subjected to just a holiday episode or something that is just happening right now, but something that can be watched over and over and over for years to come, that even though the episode happened 4 or 5 years ago, but the content is still relevant today. Think about old shows and reruns. We're still watching shows that have been out of syndication for 40 to 50 years. Why? Because the content was just that good that now generations that wasn't even alive back then is still enjoying TV shows that are currently not running. So the same thing with your podcast. You want to create episodes that create an experience that will have longevity. Another thing that you want to do in promoting your podcast is to cross promote your episodes with other podcasters. So this is a great way to build a podcast community. That's what we do with CTR Media Network. We want you to cross promote. We advertise for you. We distribute your podcast, all to increase your individual visibility as well as while you're on our platform at CTR Media Network. So collaborating with other podcasters as well as joining independent podcast networks can be very beneficial. Another thing is, which most podcasters do not do, what you should do in order to promote your podcast, is to create you an email list. This is good for you to not be dependent on just all the Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, all of that, because just imagine if you no longer have those platforms, then how are you going to stay connected with your viewing and listening audience? How you do that is by creating and building you an email list, because even if you are no longer on those platforms, you still co-control, because you have this email list. You can share updates, you can share new episodes, you can get more personal, provide behind the scene exclusive content, different tips in your email so that people will keep going back. You can also include direct links to your podcast in every email. You can do all kinds of things that will actually help to grow and promote your podcast through your email. Okay, many of us don't use email, and we should be using emails. Another thing, you need to tap into your network. Ask your friends, family, colleagues to share your podcast. Even people that are your Facebook friends, followers, subscribers, ask them to share. Ask them to share. You can also use LinkedIn to share your expertise and the episodes in your professional circles. You can partner with influencers. You can build business relationships that centered around the topic of their business that also elevate your episode as well, because you need to start tapping into additional networks. Remember, it's not all about you. It's about the impact that you can make in order to help the person, the guests that come on your show, as well as benefit your viewing and listening audience. The next thing you need to do is, once you get to this point, you can start utilizing paid advertisement if you want to do it. It is not expensive to do paid advertisements on Facebook. It's like $1 a day. So you can look for various different ways to advertise and market your podcast, from being for purchasing ads in magazines, ads on social media platforms, all the good stuff. You can even run ads on Google and Spotify. You can also use sponsorships and partnerships to expand your reach by collaborating with multiple companies, nonprofits, and etc. in order to expand your reach. And also, it's not here, but you can also go to events to be able to expand and promote your podcast. Go to create you some flyers, some postcards, and start handing them out, going downtown in your local town, letting them know that advertisement slots you have in your show. You're looking for featured guests, you looking to advertise, all that good stuff. Building up your own personal network. Number 8, you want to engage in podcast communities. So you want to make it your point to be able to join various different podcast communities that are active and be able to start sharing along with their rules. Make sure to read the rules for each of these Facebook groups or wherever you're at, and stay within those boundaries and start joining those groups and start sharing your podcast. You can share your episodes, relevant topics. You can focus on adding value to the community and also expanding your network in order to get more stronger network. You can attend podcasting events, webinars, networking opportunities, and you can also create your own events on your show where you can invite people to watch and listen, just like I'm doing right now. This is not a webinar, but it's more like a training. But if I wanted to make it a webinar or an event, I really could have just said, hey, come to my event. I'm going live on YouTube. I'm going live in my private group. Be creative and build your community. Speaking of building a community, if you're looking for guests, if you're a podcaster or you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for podcasts, we have the Podcast Guest Matchmaker group, which is a free group on Facebook where you can connect with podcasters and entrepreneurs to find your guests, to find your podcast show to go on to share. It's absolutely free. You can join our community of over 2,000 people in counting, and it's absolutely free. Just Google this or go to Facebook and search it, Podcast Guest Matchmaker, connecting podcasters and entrepreneurs. And when you're looking to be a guest, if you're a podcaster, you put hashtag find a guest. And if you want to be a guest on your post, put hashtag be a guest and see what happens for you. So that is the end of our training on this particular topic of the 8 top ways to promote your podcast. Yes, 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 and yes. Those are the 8 top ways I want to share with you that anybody can do. But of course, there are many more ways that you can promote your podcast and grow and be successful. Make sure to like, follow, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you have a question about podcasting that you want us to answer in the next video, put it down and we may just answer that question. If you love this information, you appreciate this information, let us know. And if you want to know more different things about how you can promote your podcast even further, then you can go and purchase The Power of Podcasting, Unlocking Tips and Strategies for Podcast Success, where we break down even more things, the meat and potatoes. This book was named was the winner of the best new podcasting books for 2023. And we are still in the running of the top 20 plus books of podcast books. And we also reached #1 bestseller status, crossing over international Amazon bestsellers. So it's definitely worth the $20. Okay. Plus shipping is $25. So go ahead to CTRMediaNetwork.com and go ahead and purchase your book on today. We literally only have 24 physical copies left in our office. So after those, that is it. You're going to have to just go order on Amazon or any other place, or go to Barnes & Noble, wherever it's at. But if you want an autograph copy, you go to CTRMediaNetwork.com today. Thank you so much. Make sure to hop on over on your electronic devices and check us out on television. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Android TV, web app, and you can download our app on iOS and Google Play Store. For those of you who love to watch us on TV right now, which I know that you are, go ahead and scan that code. Scan that code, and you can actually pair our information to your TV, because we do have Google Chrome casting and Apple casting. So you can actually cast our information onto your television at home. Did you know that? Okay, we doing the thing over here. So thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you are loving this content that we are absolutely bringing for you for absolutely free. Normally, this information is disclosed only to the people within our membership program. That's actually a CTR Media Network member. But we decided that we are going to be intentional about making sure that we provide more value, not only to our members, but as well as our viewing and listening audience, because we appreciate all of you. And thank you for being a part of the best part of CTR, which is our viewing and listening audience and our amazing content creators. I am Dr. T&J Ramsey, here to give you these tips and strategies for podcast success, so you can go out and make that impact that's going to be purposeful, that's going to help you create the income and the life that you know you deserve to have. On that note, you guys have a great, amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye.
Dreams do come true. I am showering on Netflix.
What I wish I knew when I started podcasting: how to get an awesome website in minutes. No technical knowledge, no problem. Podpage is designed for podcasters, not developers. Build a professional website in minutes, no coding required. Focus on your podcast, not your website. Join over 30,000 podcasters who trust Podpage to showcase their shows. It's easy, it works, it's made for you. Visit CTR Media Network and scan the QR code to get started now. Podpage, build it, love it, share it.